Ctrl+Paint exists for one reason, to try and distill the lessons that I've learned about digital painting and to turn them into short videos. So as the second video in a week devoted to digital painting theory, I think it's the perfect time to take a step back and to just explain why it is that I use the computer to begin with. So I'll start off with a question. When was the last time that you wrote an essay with a pen and paper? For me, it was probably sometime in middle school. And since then, I've been using something that looks a little bit more modern. So until recently, I never gave this tool too much thought. It makes typing easier and I don't have to use whiteout anymore. Great. But what I was ignoring are a few fundamental game changers that changed the way that my brain thinks about writing to begin with. So first off, it can spell check for me. So here I've spelled a word wrong, I right click and all of a sudden I have a dictionary right at my hand. Well, this may seem simple, but this is really incredible. What it does is it takes some of the repetitive stress off of my brain and lets me do what I'm good at, which is creating sentences. We're sort of creative animals, and if we can let the computer do what it's good at, storing lists and data, then you can focus on what it is that you're good at, which is being creative. So I'm not saying that spelling isn't important, just that it's not something unique that you bring to the table. So you might as well offload that onto a computer. Now the second feature is the real game changer. Let's say I've been typing along for 10 or 15 minutes, and this third paragraph here, this is maybe really my introduction. The first two paragraphs, they were more of a warm-up exercise, and now I'm really getting into the meat of it. Now if I were working with an inkwell and a quill, I'd need to throw that document away and start over. But now I'm able to dynamically shift these blocks of text around. So I can cut this out and paste it at the beginning of my document. This is incredible. So the process has gone from being premeditated and linear to totally non-linear. The final result I'm creating is essentially identical to those manuscripts from thousands of years ago, printed words on a page. I'm still dreaming up sentences, making paragraphs, but it's the software that allows me to take those words and manipulate them, sort of like a potter working clay. So none of this is news to you, I'm sure. You've been writing documents on computers for years. But what I encourage you to think about is the way that making a digital painting can mirror this process. You're still creating a 2D image on a flat surface, but the steps that you take to get there can look very different than the way that Leonardo da Vinci did years ago. So my challenge to you would be to do two things. First, always be thinking about what it is that the computer can do well so that you can focus on the more creative parts. So study your anatomy, lighting, drawing, and let the computer do the repetitive stuff. The second thing is that remember all the software advantages are tied to technology, which is a quickly moving train. So to make the most of your software, you're going to need to have an open mind. Because about every 3 months, I'll find some feature that changes my workflow forever. But that's not a problem. Because I'm not tied to habit, it's no problem to shift gears like this. Because when you look at art history, we're just a speck at the end of the timeline. We're pioneers in a new media. So things are changing very fast, but the best advice I can give is to spend a lot of time drawing and to be on the lookout for some new piece of software that'll help get that repetitive stuff out of the way for you so you can focus on the creative part.